Sometimes it is hard to follow the rules, but when you follow them a little too much, you can actually beat the system. This is how these kids turned out to be geniuses. Make sure you watch this video until the end to know how a kid tried to train his dog. If you love hilarious kids as much as we do, don't forget to subscribe and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today, we are showing you 20 genius kids who beat the system. Bring Your Fish to School Day. We don't know why, but some teachers decided to organize the Bring Your Fish to School Day. This is why all the parents had to go to the pet shop to buy a new companion. However, one dad didn't really understand what the teacher meant, and he went to the grocery store instead. This is why the kid was disappointed to see that he couldn't play with his pet like all the other students, and the smell was probably terrible. Anyway, don't you think it is a bad idea to ask kids to buy a pet that most of them won't even take care of? True or false? This kid didn't even take the time to study or read any of the questions. Instead, he decided to work on a plan that would give him the chance to get the right answer no matter what the answer is. He just found a way to make the word true look like the word false, or the word false look like the word true. Anyway, we think that this was a really smart idea. But unfortunately, the teacher didn't fall for this little trick, and he got all the answers wrong. We think we would have got a better grade simply by writing true everywhere. Mathematics is simple. Who said that mathematics is hard? The only thing you need is a little imagination to turn a problem into a solution. Most students would be intimidated when they see an equation like this, but this one decided to keep things simple. He didn't see the word sin, but just a bunch of letters. This is why he decided to divide the letter n by the letter n to turn it into the number 6. Then, he just had to add 1, and he got 7. He is probably the only kid in this class who got this answer, but that doesn't mean that he is wrong. The throne. Just like any mother, this mom asked her son to clean the bathroom that night. And just to make things clear, she said that he should clean it like the Queen of England is visiting. The kid took things too seriously and decided to adapt the bathroom to any British person. He added a British flag, some greetings, and everything a British person needs, like some tea to drink and a Harry Potter book to read on the loo. The story doesn't tell if the Queen of England really did come to visit, but at least the mother got what she wanted. They should always try this to motivate kids. The chores. And here's another kid who had to do some chores in the bathroom. His mom asked him to pile some toilet paper on the toilet. However, the cat was sleeping there, and the kid didn't let that stop him. He decided to pile the toilet paper on the cat, which is probably funnier than piling it on the toilet. We can't believe that he managed to make 16 of them stay in place on the cat. But we wouldn't want to be him when the cat wakes up from a nap, and he will have to clean this mess. At least it was fun while it lasted. Name the shapes. Do you want to get in shape? In shape of what? During a geometry test, this teacher asked the students to name the shapes. You would expect answers like square, circle, or triangle, but this girl decided that those shapes needed a little more personality. She was probably inspired by her friends because she decided to name them Jade, Charlotte, Charlie, Sophia, and so on. We don't know what the teachers think yet because the student hasn't finished her test. We don't think that she will get a good grade for that, but at least her friends will think that it is really fun fun, and this is priceless. The special drawer. This father decided to hide something secret in a drawer to keep it away from children. Was it candies, or money to buy candies? He wanted to make sure that we would never know what was hiding in there when he put a lock on the drawer. But the kids were smarter than him when they realized that they just had to remove the drawer right above it to get access to what is inside it. We still don't know what it was, but no matter what, we think that the kids deserve to have it for being such geniuses. The Chinese immigrant. This time, for homework, the kids had to assume the role of a Chinese immigrant in 1870 and write a letter describing their experiences. But the teacher didn't think that there was actually a Chinese immigrant in the room who would take it a little too seriously. He wrote the whole homework in Chinese. The teacher probably didn't understand it, and neither do we. So we don't know if the student actually said something that makes sense or if he just copied some symbols that he saw on the internet. No matter what, we think that he deserves a good grade for the effort. Can you hang this out? And here's a mom who is asking us to do some chores again. This time, she put a post-it on a shirt to ask her son if he could hang this out. But the kid took it too seriously when he decided to hang the post-it on the washing line outside their home. We bet that he was so proud of his prank that he decided to send a picture to his mother. This was when she answered that she meant to hang the shirt out. Gimp boy. Making this joke probably took more efforts than simply hanging out the shirt, but we think that it was totally worth it. The spelling test. This time, the teacher asked a pretty simple question. He simply wanted the kids to write 10 words they can spell right. But one of them decided to make things simpler. They decided to write down the words that were right in front of them. 10 words I can spell right are. But don't think he's dumb, because he actually went for a challenge right after by writing the word octopus. No matter what, the teacher will have to admit that the student was right and he will get a good grade. We think that he should even get a bonus point for that smart answer. The alphabetical order. Admit it, you can't remember the alphabetical order without singing the song. And there's actually nothing wrong with that. This time, a kid had to write the following words in the order they came in the alphabet. They just had to put 6 words in the right order. But this kid decided to make things much more complicated. They put all the letters in the 6 words in alphabetical order to create some nonsense. The teacher has to admit that it could actually be considered to be a valid answer. But we wish this kid didn't work that hard for something as simple as that. Really probably a tiny little bit of everything. It was so small that it was hard to know what it was, so he even took the time to write down what it was. What a caring little brother. But we are pretty sure that it was just a joke, and he actually did save a whole plate for his brother. The future journalist. When you are in school, you get the chance to explore many different jobs to know what you will be doing later when you grow up. This time, the kids were going to learn how to write an article. They had to write a title, and the student decided to name it How Chicks Grow. Then he was asked what this article was about, and he simply answered, How Chicks Grow. What a stupid question. You can guess it by looking at the title. We have to admit that professional writers don't write down the answers to that question anymore, but it is still a good idea to know what you are going to write about. Wash your hands before dinner. No matter how many times our mother asked us to wash our hands before dinner, we are not doing it now that we are grown-ups unless we touched something weird. But this kid was too young for this, so his mom had to ask him to go to the restaurant's bathroom and clean his hands. There were even some instructions to tell him how to do it properly. You just have to run the water, put the soap in the sink, and make sure you don't touch anything. His mother won't be proud of him, but what she doesn't know can't hurt her. The snack. There are some very strict rules in this house. This young boy is not allowed to use his tablet in the kitchen, and he is not allowed to eat in the living room. So what can he do if he wants to eat a snack while watching a video on his tablet? This young boy had the chance to get the best of both worlds by lying in the middle of the 2 rooms. He must be really proud of himself because there's nothing his mom can do against this. He is still following the rules. We think that this boy will go really far. The dog trainer. We all know that kids want to get a dog, and then they never take care of them. But this time, this mom asked her son to train the dog and told him to watch videos on YouTube to know what to do. However, he didn't just use the video as an inspiration. He just showed the video to the dog, hoping that he would understand what he should do. What we see here is either a really naive boy or a really smart dog. Who was your favorite kid on this list? Don't be shy to answer in the comments section down below. We love to hear what you think. And that's it for 20 genius kids who beat the system. For more stories like this, make sure you watch 20 Toys No Kid Wants to Receive on Their Birthday. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.
Hey guys! guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 hilarious kids who beat the system. There are many good things about being a kid, but as you're young, parents, teachers, and life in general put restrictions on you. Well, here are some kids who have already figured out how to win at life. Before we get into it, be sure to subscribe to Top 10s and press the notification bell too. Coming in at number 10, we have Legos. We all know the worst thing about being a kid is your parents getting mad. This usually means you're going to be shouted at or even spanked. Now, as a kid, you can't exactly do much about this. However, one young boy who was in trouble took precautions that meant he was untouchable. Forget Al Capone, this kid is a true genius who beat the system. You see, he scattered his Lego pieces all over his bedroom floor to make the ultimate booby trap. If you've ever stepped on a Lego piece, then I'm surprised you're still around to watch this video. Okay, they're not that bad, but it sure does hurt to step on a Lego brick. So seeing as this kid has put Legos all over his room, he's made a barrier between him and his parents so they can't punish him. Of course, him messing up his room with Lego probably got him into more trouble, but seeing as he's blocked off any way to get to him with the Lego, I guess that doesn't matter. This kid truly has beaten the system. Next up is confiscated. So, we've seen one kid who tricked his parents. Now that's one thing, but what about tricking your teacher? A few years back, one kid named Schneider got his phone confiscated after using it in class. Seeing as kids can't go long without checking their phone, you can see why this would be a problem. The kid wanted his phone back, but his teacher said his mom would have to come in and collect it so she could hear what he was doing. Now this would also be a problem, as his mom would be mad if she knew he got his phone confiscated. So, this kid beat the system by dressing up as his own mom and trying to get his phone back from his teacher. And the most surprising thing is, the teacher actually believed the disguise and gave him his phone back.
They bought it.
He figured the teacher wouldn't question if his mom was really him, as this would make her look rude if it really was her, and it worked. His friend tweeted out what he did, but it got out of hand and went viral, which caused his teacher to find out. Now, of course, this did get the kid into more trouble, but at least he pulled it off in the first place. And also, this kid has gone down as a viral legend who beat the system. Next up is Player. When I say Player, what do you picture? You probably think of a guy dressed as James Bond with tons of models in a beach house somewhere, right? Well, perhaps you should change that image to an innocent preschooler instead. It sounds crazy, but it seems like some kids who haven't even reached middle school yet are already breaking hearts. This photo was taken at a preschool and shows a little boy and a little girl hugging. They're obviously boyfriend and girlfriend, but if you look to the right, you can see the boy is secretly holding onto another girl's hand. Did this kid really get caught cheating in a preschool class? Some older people who cheat could learn a thing or two from this kid, as he seems like a master finesser. The girl he's hugging has no idea he's secretly holding hands with another girl right behind her. And we all know that for a preschooler, holding hands is a pretty big deal. Something tells me this kid is going to break a lot of hearts when he's older. What does the world come to when preschoolers have side chicks? Welcome to 2018, everyone. Next up is Grabber. Now we all love arcade games, but one of the worst arcade games that no one likes is those grabbing machines. We all know they're a massive rip-off, as the prizes always slide off the hook. Now as adults, there's nothing we can do about this, but one kid decided to beat the system and take action. After losing her money on this lame grabber machine, she didn't win any prizes, and was not happy. But she was determined to get the giant stuffed panda, so she crawled inside the machine. The arcade supervisor spotted her inside the machine and was very mad, but the girl simply didn't care and said she needed to get the panda prize she was trying to win. She succeeded in doing this in the end, which is pretty impressive. It definitely shows determination and quick thinking that only a kid could get away with. Yeah, I think the supervisor would be a little more angry if it was a fully grown man in the machine. Either way, this girl sure does know how to beat the system. Next up is football. One of the worst things about being a kid is school, and the worst thing about school is tests. Well, one smart kid decided to use a few sneaky tricks in order to get the right test answer. The question was, which is the best estimate for the length of a football? The answers were 1 foot, 4 feet, 5 feet, or 8 feet. Now, either the kid wasn't sure or he just didn't feel like answering this dumb question. So instead, he filled in 1 foot and then added ball onto the end of the word, making 1 football. Now, 1 football would be the length of 1 football, so the teacher really can't complain. I'm just kidding. This kid probably got a detention for doing this, but he still did beat the system by technically getting the answer right. What would you do if you were a teacher? Mark this right or wrong. I would personally give him an A for beating the system, but an F for math. Next up is Fishy. This is one kid who took instructions a little too literally and ended up beating the system. His teacher at his school in Japan told the entire class to bring in a fish to observe. This meant the kids had to go out and pay for a fish just to bring into class to look at. However, one kid either didn't want to spend his money on a fish or perhaps he just forgot to do it. So instead he simply bought in a fish from his refrigerator. While the rest of the kids had to spend their cash buying goldfish and so on, this kid simply beat the system and did something different. It sure beats the other kid sitting across from him who bought in nothing. And if his teacher complains, he could simply say he did exactly what she said by bringing in a fish. Only this kid purposely took her instructions too literally. A teaching aide took this photo and it went viral on Japanese social media sites. I can see why, as this kid is either an idiot or a genius. Which do you think? Next up is outside. When you've done something wrong and your parents find out, you have two options as a kid. Either block off your room with Legos, or you have to face up to the punishment. One kid was grounded by his parents and they told him not to set foot outside. Now, for most kids, this means they wouldn't be able to enjoy the sun and would have to stay indoors. But this crafty kid found a way to avoid being totally grounded by sticking all of his body out of the door but leaving his feet in the house. You see, his parents said don't set a foot outside, so I guess every other body part is fair game. His dad took this photo of him and posted it to Reddit, where it went viral and people nicknamed him the Genius Kid. I sure do agree with that, as he really did beat the system. You may assume his parents were mad that he found out this loophole, but actually they were impressed by his intuition. To be fair, it is impressive to pick up on such technicalities of a punishment at his young age. This kid should definitely be a lawyer when he's older. Next up is true or false. This is another kid who beat the system when it comes to a test at school. But this one is even smarter, and you can use it in school too. One kid had to do a true or false test in school one day. However, he must have not been very hot on the topic, or maybe didn't study. But if you're crafty enough, then this isn't a problem. He simply wrote a hybrid of true and false for each answer. The T looks like an F, the R looks like an A, the U looks like a U and an S, and the E is the same on both words. His teacher posted this online when she found it on his test sheet, and it went viral. This has actually worked for some other kids who tried it out, but that was on a single answer, not the entire test. Some teachers who are quickly checking the work simply read it as the right answer, as that's what they expect to be there. Are you going to try this out at school? If you do and you get caught, just remember, you didn't hear this one from me. Seriously, I don't want to end up being in detention in schools all over the world. Next up is tablet. As kids, we all have to contend with house rules. For example, this kid's not allowed to use his tablet in the kitchen as he may spill food or drink on it. But he's also not allowed food or drink in the living room, as food or drink may be spilled on the rug or the sofas. So, to get around this, the kid simply hangs out in between the kitchen and the lounge. He puts his tablet down on the rug of the lounge and keeps his food and drink on the floor of the kitchen. This is a genius way to have your cake and eat it. His mum posted a photo of this clever idea showing off his smart way around the house rules. People found this hilarious, and some even called this kid a genius. I think Einstein would be pretty annoyed if people were comparing E equals MC squared to this, so I won't go that far. But one thing neither you nor Einstein can deny is that this kid knows how to bend the rules and beat the system. Have you ever found a crafty way to get around house rules? Next up is playing outside. So, before we saw a kid who wanted to play outside but wasn't allowed to. Well, here we have the exact opposite of that. Many kids today like to stay inside and play their games on the Xbox, PlayStation, or computer. One kid was playing a game on his computer too much and was always cooped up indoors. So, his parents told him to go outside and play. He went outside and they probably assumed he went out for a bike ride or to play football outside. But minutes later, his mom looked out the window and saw he was literally playing outside. This is another kid who took instructions way too literally in order to beat the system. Guys, if your parents ever tell you to play outside instead of inside, then try this out. Or if they tell you to stop watching YouTube videos indoors, then simply watch them outside. Let me know in the comment section if you've ever done anything like the kids on this list to beat the system. And check out the poll in the top red corner to vote for the kid who beat the system the best. In my opinion, it's the kid with the Lego, as that is pretty hilarious. Just imagine being a parent and seeing your kid doing that.